Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at yesterday evening's World Championship previews, which there has to be some stonking amount. And yeah, well, let's have a look at everything that has been shown. So yesterday evening, around about 6 o'clock GMT time, we got the live stream from the Warhammer community team for yesterday's previews. And to be completely honest, then hats off to Games Workshop on this one. It probably was one of their better preview shows that they've had in a long time. It was pretty solid. It was a full hour long, which was really good. And it showed a lot of stuff. They held back a few things, but we'll go through that as we jump in. So first things first, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the Empire. We're going to kick off with the old world. So yeah, as I said in the video, it's probably going to be the Empire that was going to be revealed, and it's exactly that. Now, they didn't reveal everything. They did hint that there were a couple of character models that were new, and we should be keeping an eye out for that. They kind of sort of shown them in the sort of like little V-roll little video that they had of showing the models. You can see a mounted character and a character on foot. There's a couple of screenshots floating around the internet, so you've probably already spotted them. But you know, we definitely know we're probably going to be seeing them in the not too distant future. So the Empire Army, their new battalion looks pretty solid. I'm actually surprised straight off the bat that we do not have a new steam tank kit. I was fully expecting that. The way that they were hyping up the steam tank, you know, I was fully expecting that one to be a new kit for them. But you know, you've got a couple of state troopers and the handgunners, and obviously a steam tank front and center, right in the center of that of the box. So the battalion box is not too bad. I think it looks a pretty solid box for about £100. I think the battalion boxes for the old world are pretty good, and this one is pretty decent as it is. Gives you everything that you need to sort of start off, because obviously that tank, the steam tank, can be made into a steam tank commander as well. So we also got the Arcane Journal, which is pretty awesome. So it comes with 48-page rules covering everything, and you've got the rules for 2 armies of infamy, the city-state of Newland, and the knightly orders. Now, the way that they sort of talked about the knightly orders in the sort of preview is that there is rules for multiple different orders. So you've got all of the different sort of knightly orders, and they have their own little rule. So you can creatively build an army around whichever knightly order you really like. One of the things that I did sort of notice, which is kind of goes against some of the rumors that we heard, is the Griffin riders, the sort of the Griffins with no wings, the Hippogriffin cavalry. They were shown, which is really cool, which is really quite nice, because there was a lot of rumors saying that these guys were going to get binned, but they seem to be coming back to the old world in a big way. Now, new plastic kits, obviously the Imperial Griffin. Big questions straight away need to be asked in regards to the Cities of Sigmar army for Age of Sigmar, because this model is one of those models in that range. Are they still going to be keeping it? Is it going to be leaving the range for the old world? Is it going to be replaced? Lots of questions. I'm sure when we get to see the Cities of Sigmar army getting released for 4th edition, that will be covered in, you know, we'll get to see that. I definitely think the dwarfs are going to be gone from it, but this was one of the outliers straight away. So yeah, good to see that that's going to go back. And obviously you've got your mounted general, and you've got the little dude on foot, which you can build from that kit. So some of the troops and stuff that we're going to be getting, you know, you've got your state troops, your classic state troops. You've got your handgunners. You've got your flagellants. Again, a unit that is still currently in the Cities of Sigmar army. Is this spelling that they're potentially going to have a new flagellant Age of Sigmar type unit for Cities of Sigmar? Who knows? I'm sure we'll see in the future next year. We've got the very expensive great swords, beautiful models. Would have been kind of nice to see some new troop choices for the Empire Army and a new plastic kit, kind of like the Bretonians got, but, you know, it is what it is. The bowman, not that many people would use bowman because you've got access to handgunners. The militia, which is always kind of cool. You got your cannon crews and your mortars. You got your big volley guns and your rocket launchers as well. So really kind of cool. So a lot of good stuff coming back for the Empire. And that's not saying anything else. We've still got all of the cavalry. So we've got the Reichland Guard Knights. We've got the Pistoliers. We've got these guys, which is also chuffed that they're actually coming back and staying back in the old world, because these are such a cool looking unit and very, very Warhammer. There's this thing, I believe that's like the War Shrine type thing. Now, this is they did talk about this in regards to what it is, that these two horses are brand new and the rest of it is kind of being tidied up and cleaned up. The War Wagon, which is pretty cool to see. Obviously, we have the Steam Tank as well, which is, again, I'm surprised that we don't have a new kit for that. So we've got some Forge World resins are coming back, which is quite nice. So we've got these characters here, and the Banner Bearer, and the really crazy Flagellant. And obviously the War Wagon, which is super cool. And then a host of metal miniatures. Now, some of these are proper classic guys, like the Witch Hunter type guy. You've got the Priest of Sigmar, which, you know, an iconic character and archetype. I really love using mine in Vermintide too. Again, I would love to have seen a new version of one of these. That would have been really cool. And I do believe this one at the back with the two hammers, it was done by Darren Latham, and I believe that was one of his earliest sculpts that he did when he was learning to become a sculptor for Games Workshop. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is the one. If it is, that's really cool that it's going to be on general release, because it is a really, really nice miniature. Obviously, we've got the Middelheim, the Wolfie guys. We've got the engineers. We've got the sort of Knightly Order guys. You know, those guys on foot. I think they're from Middelheim. The classic ogre with his rifle cannon, which is so cool to see. But yeah, the previews for the Empire were pretty solid. I really quite like that. Really quite excited. Beastmen, Wood Elves and High Elves are the last ones to come. I'm pretty much going to lay out on the limb that the Beasts of Chaos are probably going to be the next after the Empire. But Old World is definitely coming in nice and thick and fast. It's a little bit slower than I expected. I was fully expecting all the factions to be out by now, but obviously it's taking its time. And there isn't as much new things as I fully expected in it, especially considering the amount of new things that the Tomb Kings and the Bretonnians got. I was expecting a little bit more for the other factions, but maybe over the next few years we'll actually start seeing some proper nice new releases. I think the popularity of the Old World has definitely sort of shocked Games Workshop. I don't think they fully expected the game to be as popular and as profitable as it probably has turned out to be. Bearing in mind that this is entirely, you know, just printing money for them, because they don't really need to spend too much money on those molds. But that's the Old World, so let's jump into the next one. Okay, so we're just going to jump straight into Age of Sigmar now. We're going to get the Age of Sigmar out of the way before we go into the real meatiness of this preview, which was obviously going to be 40k. So the Auric War Clans. Now, I did turn around and say that we're probably going to see the next 3 books. We got the next 2 at least. But, you know, I completely forgot about the roadmap and forgot that these were the first army for Age of Sigmar in 2025. And it's the Auric War Clans. And it's a pretty cool looking book. Obviously, it's only going to be having 2 factions in there now. You've got the Iron Jaws and the Cruel Boys. The Bone Splitters have obviously been removed and have gone back to the Old World. In kind of back, sort of. They're like a unit upgrade now rather than an actual army in itself. But yeah, so we've got some new stuff. We've seen this guy, the Hobgrot Slitzbosser. This model was accidentally sent out to somebody and ended up on the internet. I think that was happened like a month or so ago. So we kind of knew that this model was coming. A lot of people speculated that it was an event model, but this is actually the new model for the release of the Battle Tome. And we've got the new faction terrain piece. So, yay, Orcs have got a faction trim piece. This is a two-piece thing. You can have one for the Cruel Boys and one for the Iron Jaws, or this is the Iron Jaws. And basically you can put a boss model or a shaman in that model, and basically they get additional rules. It's kind of a bit like the altar for the Khorne, the Bloodbound and stuff like that. And obviously there's the Cruel Boys version as well. They also get some manifestations, so obviously manifestations are definitely staying. I'm not a overly big fan of them, but okay, cool, they're there. One thing that's really cool is the Foot of Gork is now got a miniature. Yay for the Foot of Gork. And yeah, and obviously the Iron Jaws have a new spearhead. That is a really, really good spearhead. I mean, you get your Mega Boss on foot, you get 10 Hard Boys, 5 Brutes, and you then get some of the Wrecker guys, which obviously can be built either in one unit or another. So that's pretty solid. Like 2 of them, and then maybe like, you know, a Maw Crusher or something is going to give you a pretty solid looking army. And, you know, Brutes. Like, who does not want big, crazy Orcs in heavy plate armor like that? You know, it's... I've got a soft spot for the Iron Jaws, and they're one of probably my favourite armies of Age of Sigmar, and I did a very well with them in like 2nd, 3rd edition. Had a lot of fun with them. I kind of regret selling them, to be fair. Out of all of the armies that I've had for Age of Sigmar, I regret letting go of my Iron Jaws twice. I had my original army, which was mostly Hard Boys. Got rid of them because I didn't really want to play 75 Hard Boys, which is kind of how the meta wanted you to play. And then I got back into them again, thinking, yes, I'm going to go really Brute heavy. And then literally a day before they buffed Brutes and Gorgrunters, I sold my army to a friend who needed them for the for Six Nations and stuff like that, and massively regretted it. I really wish I hadn't. So maybe one day I might look back at them. But always a big fan of the Iron Jaws and the big green machine. But yeah, so it's this spearhead is looking pretty solid. But there's a lot more for Age of Sigmar, so we're going to go and look at the other half of the Age of Sigmar reveals now. So the Git Mob, right? I would say out of all of the previews that we got yesterday, I would say that the Git Mob are probably some of the reveals that stole the show by a long shot. Now, I know the internet is talking about a specific element of the preview that from last night, and we're going to get to that very shortly, but I would say that these miniatures definitely stole the show. Now, these are absolutely fantastic. Basically, it's an element, the new part for the Gloom Spike Gits, and basically it allows you to play a sub-faction, which is the Git Mob, which is essentially goblins riding wolves and riding chariots. Basically, the wolf riders from old fantasy are now made it into Age of Sigmar properly. Now, we kind of got a teaser of these in Warhammer Underworlds. We had that Warhammer Underworlds warband, which had, I believe, 3 of these guys in that as a warband, and they were pretty impressive. And now, as you can see, we have a host of miniatures. So you can literally play this as an entire army. So your Git Mob, you've pretty much got your Squig army, you've got your Moon Clan army, you've got your Troll army, and now you have Goblin Wolf Riders and Chariot army. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. And they're super cool. Like, look at this model. Like, absolutely beautiful. So this is really cool. Apparently, the Goblin isn't the leader. It's the Wolf. And they have some really weird sort of thing with the sun, or Hish, where they kind of sort of use this metal to absorb the light from the sun and then unleash it onto their enemies, because they really hate the sun, like a good goblin does. But that is a beautiful model. I've got a feeling you will see a lot of these at future Golden Demons. This screams a Golden Demon entry. I really can't wait to see what guys like Alonso and stuff can do with these. But yeah, it's absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. And so this is one version, and then I believe there is another version, this one, with lots of different stuff on it. I think it's just such a really, really cool miniature. If the rumours are true, the Thunderwolf Cavalry have been scrapped from the Space Wolves. which is a shame because these new wolf sculpts would look pretty cool in 40k, but the rumor is that they're gone, which is a shame. But I could be tempted to buy this model just to paint up because that is beautiful. We also then have the actual unit itself, which is the sort of cavalry unit with the goblins. So it's like 2 goblins riding 1 wolf because, why would you not want more goblins? And they're just absolutely stunning. Just absolutely stunning. And then to top it off, we have the chariots. So there's obviously the unit, the chariot, so your bog standard unit, and then we have the character element of the chariot, which basically has like a character on it. There's like a big boss type goblin on there, and then there's a shaman like stood on a totem pole to get closer to the sun because goblin logic. But yeah, pretty cool looking models. And then I think one of the coolest parts about the whole thing is the Goblin Doom Diver has come back, and it is massive. This base is apparently 130 mil. It's a pretty big base, and what's kind of cool is there's multiple ways of building this. So you can have it where the Goblin is flying through the air, or you can have it where the Goblin is getting ready to be launched, and it looked pretty cool. There's the one that's getting launched. I'm pretty sure that people on the internet are already going to start talking about the gaps in the ropes on this one, and I would imagine that's because they're able to take this off and switch it out for the other one regardless of which is which. But I'm sure people are going to pull that one. But yeah, and then obviously you've got the guy on the chariot, and then the shaman on the chariot as well. And the Gloom Spike gets Battle Tome, which obviously has the Wolfie guys on the front. So yeah, I think out of all of the Age of Sigmar, that's definitely stole the show. But yeah, it's pretty impressive. But what we'll do is we'll jump onto the Horus Heresy next before we jump into 40k. So for Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, to say that this was the weakest point of the entire preview is an understatement. Absolutely, just yeah. Now, obviously, you get this the little sort of transport in plastic. I actually thought this was already out. To be completely honest, when it popped up on the screen, I was like, I'm convinced this is already out in plastic and available already. Such a miniature that everybody wants. Maybe like as a sort of dropship for your Solar Auxiliary, but yeah, I was actually convinced that this was already out. You get the you get this sort of big super heavy guys for the Solar Auxiliary. So you've got this, which is the big Valdor Tank Hunter with the neutron laser, which is kind of cool. It's a big Forge World kit now in plastic. Again, more and more Forge World moving to plastic because that is the ultimate goal for the next few years. And then you've got the big Flamer, which is... This Flamer is basically the one that's on the Lancer Knight. And, yeah, it's just basically attached to a tank, which is kind of cool. Now, for me, I think the only real thing for the show was the Drado Dreadnought, which has finally come out, and we finally have plastic glass cannons for it. Now, there's one of these already out with the autocannons, and that was basically all it got. But basically, the other weapon options and everything else that the Dreadnought had is now in a plastic kit. So you've got the Volkite, you've got the missiles, the anti-air defense system, and you've got those amazing glass cannons. So I can see this being a firm favourite in the Horus Heresy armies. I know in my future Horus Heresy army that I'm about to start, I will be definitely getting one of these with the last cannons because they are just good. For me, that was about the only highlight of the whole preview. So obviously the Drado set 1, you've got the autocannons and the plasma, and this one you've got the Volkite and the last cannon. So buy both of them, get some magnets, and you'll be able to magnetize the two of them, which is super cool. But no Mark 4s, no Mark 2s, no Mark 5s, no new Praetors, no new nothing. Pretty much a couple of tanks and a Dreadnought. Bit late on the Heresy, but hopefully in the new year we will get more previews for the Horus Heresy. So let's move into Warhammer 40k. Okay, Warhammer 40k. We all knew it was coming. I said it in my video. It was coming. It's going to be the first army launched for 2025 for 40k, and that is the brand new Death Corps of Krieg. And holy crap, these are amazing. So we got the new army box. So as I said, the cavalry, the big sort of weapon emplacement. I was actually not expecting to see the cavalry in the army, the launch box, to be completely honest. I was fully expecting not to, but I did say that it was potentially there was going to be at least 5 of them plus the character model. But it looks like we're going to get 10 cavalry and the new character model, the new engineers, and the gun emplacement plus the codex and all the cards and stuff, which is pretty cool. So the new character model is pretty awesome. Like, there's this guy, there's this version, and I believe it's a dual kit, so you can make this guy or you can make the actual named character himself, which is kind of awesome. And these horses are just freaky, but really, really nice to see. Yeah, and he's just super, super cool model. And then you've got the cavalry itself. So you've got these guys. They just look so good. Like, it's a bit weird that we're like really like gigging out over like cavalry units for 40k when, you know, you're expecting you know, guns and stuff, but the Death Corps of Krieg definitely have a very cool World War I vibe, which is what I'm kind of like. When I instantly looked at them, I instantly thought, ooh, Horus Heresy Militia. That would be kind of cool. And I'm pretty sure all of the people getting into Trench Crusade, or Crusade Trench, or whatever it's called, will be digging this release as well. So the new engineers, more heavily armoured, close combat type weapons, and a little drone guy thing that blows up and does loads of mortal wounds. I'm sure that's going to be pretty OP when they get the new book. And, you know, one of the coolest things as well is this massive gun emplacement. So you get this big sort of one-shot thing, you get the mortar, you get the missile launcher, and you get this quad launcher as well, which is so cool. So Krieg. And there's also like a heavy weapons team as well, which is your classic heavy weapons team. And you've got your command squad as well. So you got your new commander, your radio guy, your sort of your medic, your sergeant, your banner bearer, and then your normal guy, and then obviously your weapons teams as well. And they're all coming up in a new Astra Militarum Codex with the Krieg on the front cover, of course. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. Now, we never expected to get what came next. And I think this is what stole the show. So we knew the Eldar were coming. We knew, and we'd already had leaks with Fugon. We knew it was coming. The rumors were telling us what was coming. And we never expected Games Workshop to show everything. We kind of maybe got a few more teasers to them, because obviously they're not coming out right away. They are like the second codex to come in the new year. But they went all out. So we got everything here. Everything that is coming for the Eldar in the next wave is coming. And oh boy, if you are an Eldar player or a potential new Eldar player, and I can imagine there's probably quite a few, this is cool. So we've got the new Fire Dragons, which are coming out, which is awesome. We've got these guys. Yeah, the new Fire Dragons are so cool. We've got the Phoenix Lords. We got this one, which is cool. Now, the only downside with getting this guy, and he is such a cool model, Azuman, is the fact that we're not getting any new Dire Avengers. Now, I have been told, and the rumours on the mill, that there is a new Dire Avenger kit in the works to come at a later date, either probably sometime during this edition, potentially, or in the start of, 11th edition when they get a new codex. But basically, you've got to sort of look at the Eldar now as being an entirely plastic range. So there is no real Finecast. I don't even think there is any Finecast. And I think the only things that need to be updated from the massive big update that they had in 4th edition and the original sort of stuff that they had back in 2nd edition is basically the Dire Avengers and the tanks. And I believe the Wraith Lord came out in plastic during 4th edition. So the rest of it is pretty much brand new. It's like over the last couple of editions. so it's relatively new, so it's pretty impressive. Like, as Eldar are looking to be a pretty cool army, and there's some beautiful, beautiful models. I'm trying really hard to resist doing them. So obviously this is, absolutely stunning. And then we get the Swooping Hawk guy. He's pretty cool. Love that sword and the colour scheme on the feathers and stuff. A lot better than the old metal version. And then we get the actual Swooping Hawks themselves, which are really nice. Really, really cool. Again, rumours coming out, they're going to be in Kill Team. No, here they are as a unit in the Codex, which is kind of awesome. And then I think the model that has stolen this show and the internet, which is the Exarch for the Striking Scorpions. Now, I remember when the Striking Scorpions come out in 4th edition, when we got the old metal kit, and there was talk of an Exarch for them back then. That was like 20 odd years ago, and we've now finally got it. And it's really impressive. Like, this is an insanely good miniature. Yeah. I really hope his rules are as good as what the miniature looks, because it would be such a shame that the rules sucked when the miniature is so good and this doesn't see the table, because this is just so good. Like, if I got any miniature to paint from the Eldar range, it would be this one. And then obviously you've got the actual new plastic warp spiders themselves. So you got the unit leader, and then you've got the guys as well, which is so cool. Loving the fact that you've actually got the sort of bare head, half helmet guy as well, which is awesome. And then that's what's coming. So you've got quite a lot. Then you've got the Codex, which is coming out which has a host of new Warhorse detachments. So you've got the Warhorse, you've got the Seer Council, the Wind Rider host, the Ghost of the Webway, the Devotee Ynnari, and the Aspect host. Now, I have been told, from what we know, is the Harlequins are in this book, and the Ynnari are in this book as well. So there's quite a lot in there. And the eagle-eyed people will notice that is an Emperor's Children Chaos Space Marine on the front cover. Even more hints that the Emperor's Children are coming, even though we definitely know they are. So yeah, super, super cool. But yeah, that was the main previews. We can finish off with the final thing, which is the Black Library. And they kind of sort of only really touched on it. We've got a couple of books coming. Gotrek and Malineth, The Hell's Last, and these ones, the new Silent King, and Indominus, and the artwork of 40k, the Red Tithe for the Space Sharks, and there's a few more. But I think the main thing is that they wanted to talk about the sort of big preview that is happening for the Black Library in February next year. And it's apparently going to be a week-long thing. So there's a lot more coming books-wise in regards to that, which is kind of awesome. So that's the previews. Like I said, out of all of the previews that they've done this year, this is probably by far the best. I like the fact that they got to the end and they were like, that's not all. We have a little something special for you. It's kind of cool, and they need to do that more. They need to sort of deliver the expectations of what everyone is expecting. We expected the Krieg. We expected the, people that were like, remembered the roadmap, expected the Iron Jaws and whatever. But they kind of need to have that little curveball at the end of something that we're not really expecting and haven't really seen. So just to kind of build that hype, because that's what people want. That's what people get excited for. And that's kind of why you want to watch the previews. I mean, they've done it before. They teased it really well. Like the way they did Matorian was really cool, and a few other things. So they kind of like, maybe in March time, if you are watching this Games Workshop, at the end of the preview, maybe drop a little teaser for something like Fulgrim. We know he's coming. You can't have the Emperor's Children without actually having Fulgrim come back. So, really sort of build up that hype and tease the fan base a little bit more with the little teasers. And definitely do it at the back end of your previews, because that's what these are for. It's not just like, oh, here it is, and then do like a 20-minute thing with what it was. Like, you know, this was good. What they did here was good. What they've done in the past couple was bad. Use what they just did here. But yeah, all in all, I'm pretty impressed with what we got. The Krieg look amazing. The Eldar look stunning. The Iron Jaws are always tempting. The Gitz Mob, so cool. Horus Heresy, kind of a letdown again. Old World's nice to see. Looking forward to seeing what those two new miniatures look like. And definitely what the Beasts of Chaos get. I'm really hoping the Beasts get something good. Really hoping. I'm fingers crossed for a new Shaggoth. Please give us a new Shaggoth. But it would be kind of cool with the Beasts of Chaos is one. They're releasing a lot of old stuff. So maybe the Cornagors, the Slangors, the old Pestigors, those metal miniatures will come back as well. And we can have a little bit of chaotic flavour to our Beastmen, which would be really kind of cool to see. But yeah, all in all, kind of impressed with this one. Really looking forward to seeing what they kind of sort of show for Christmas. They have said that Age of Sigmar and 40k are going to have 30 days of downloads. So there's going to be like detachments for different armies to download, which is super cool. And they're all future-proofed for future codexes and stuff like that, which is kind of good to see. And obviously one of the main ones is going to be the Death Watch, which we all kind of knew anyway. So the next sort of big sort of thing to hype up for Warhammer is probably going to be the Secret Labs animation, which is coming out on around about the 10th of December. I don't think it's coming out day one. I think it's coming out at some point. But over on Amazon Prime, which is going to be super exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. They dropped the trailer for it the other day. And it looks absolutely rad. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. But it's definitely a good time to be a 40k fan. New stuff coming for Space Marine 2. Vermintide 2's just dropped PvP and a lot of new updates. Dark Tide's pumping out the updates because they kind of have to, because they have to compete with Space Marine 2 now. And the tabletop game is just flourishing. And so yeah, all great. But I will be back in another video. We're going to be getting back onto the Horus Heresy hype train and some 40k. So if you would like that, then hit the subscribe button and comment. Let me know what you think of the previews. What was your favourite? What was one that got you really excited? Are you starting an Eldar army? Because there's a lot of people that probably will. And yeah, it's all good. And let me know in the comments. And like, share, subscribe and all that. You can check out my members and Patreon areas if you want to help me in other ways. But that's the video up for one. Catch you later. Bye.